one of you.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
This is my home. They're gonna need a wrecking ball to take me out of here.
Good timing, everybody, whether it's morning, evening, or anywhere in between. Welcome to unRekt Traders. Today we're going to take a look at Cardano. We're currently on the machine, looking on the monthly. Now on the monthly itself, we've already had the mean reversion from the 20, so we can see that the quasi came down into the range here on April 1st. We had the mean reversion right down to that 20 almost perfectly, hitting the 10, 20, and then from there starting to bounce back up. So it's pretty safe to say that as of right now, everything is within that range. So we're going to be stuck in between support at 25 cents all the way up to 55, let's say. So as of right now, not expecting too much. If we have an extreme move, we'll move up to that 3.2 at 78 cents. And if we have an extreme move to the downside, well, we're pretty much coming to a penny. So odds of that happening slim to zero. But we do have that support at 24, resistance at 54, extreme move up to 78. On the weekly itself, we do have the 10 starting to come back up into that range. Everything else is more or less neutral. Let's take a look where that 20 is at. 20 is just starting to come up into that range, so it's very weak resistance. It's going to be a resistance support line. So we do have that resistance support at 46 cents. Price already came down to that 50 and the 100 for that matter. So basically when these came into the range on April, let's say 8th, a little earlier, but April 1st, April 8th, then we had the mean reversions down to that 100 to the 50. We found support off of that 50. We're bouncing back up, hitting that resistance. So it is a weak resistance kind of slash support, but the 10 moving up into that range. Price is going to want to move up, probably up to this resistance at 55.45, filling in this fair value gap on this candle here, which is the April 8th candle. So kind of coming up into there, filling it, maybe wicking up to the resistance on the 50, and then from there we'll kind of see how things play out. But as of right now, we found support off that 50, we're hitting the resistance, the 10 wants to pop up, and if the 10 can get, and like I said, this is kind of a support resistance, so it is possible to break that barrier, and then moving up to the 10 at 58, or at least 55.73 for this week. And the week has 3 days left in it. 3 day, basically hitting the 200 mean reversion, coming down into there, finding support off that 100. And again, where the 50 is sitting on the 3 day, it is acting as resistance. So let's say there's 6 hours left on the 3 day. So we're not really going to get above this resistive level at 47 for probably within the next 6 hours or so. And then we do have the mean reversion on that 10. So it is possible that we get a wick up to there, but technically for the next 6 hours, the body should not be able to close above 47.72. But we can get the wick to 50.63. And then we have pretty high resistance at that 55 cent level. On the daily, things are starting to change a little bit, where we have the 50 coming up in that range. So price does kind of want to come up into that 56 cent level, again filling in that fair value gap on this April 12th candle. Decent support, but a lot of liquidity sitting below that 42 cent level. So we'll see what happens here. Likelihood is we are bearish obviously on the daily here, making lower lows and higher lows. So it is possible that we do come up, take out liquidity at this 52 cents, fill in this fair value gap, and then we'll see if we can get above this little shelf here around the 60 cent level. Basically where the 100 is at. So if we can get above that 100, then we can see a pop up. If we can't, and we kind of run out of steam around here, then we could see a possible lower low, breaking that 42 cent level. So as of right now, looking for some upward direction on the daily, hopefully coming in, filling in this fair value gap, running out of steam here, and then making a new lower low. On the 4 hour, so the 4 hour, we are looking for stuff into the upward direction, already hitting the 50 mean reversion basically from May 1st. So in the last 4 days, we've made that move up to the mean reversion, hitting it nicely. Still have the 100 into effect. And now that the 200 is somewhat moved back in, let's just take a look. I want to make sure it popped out. It did. So with the 200, there is the possibility of, it's kind of a weak mean reversion, but the possibility of coming up into that 51.99 is there. Again, we still have the fair value here, breaking structure, so we do want to see price rebalance this area, taking out, and we have pretty well equal levels at this 52-cent range, which would bring us to that possible target. Now, before we do kind of shoot up, we got to take a look at this 10 here. The 10 is starting to push back down, so there's a possibility that we return to this little shelf here at 40, let's say 44.5, before continuing in that upward direction, and then see if we can come down from there. So kind of a bounce around, but that's kind of what price does. So maybe something like this, and then take it to low. So that is a possibility. We'll go into the Nexus here, and on the Nexus we do have a new monthly. And if we take a look at the yearly, you know, we are flirting with that lower yearly range level. So we did breach it a little bit, found some support, so we're kind of at that lower range, showing quite a bit of weakness, to be honest. We'll see if we can get at least above that pivot again at 49, and then, but really to become truly bullish on the yearly, we got to get above that 54. If we take a look at the quarterly itself, obviously we're bearish on the quarterly as well, coming down to that previous 3-month low, taking out liquidity from the previous year range here. And then, if we can't get some oomph here, likelihood is we'll probably come to that 3-month S2 or the 3-yearly S1 at 31.78. So hopefully we can get a little bullishness in here. And from the machine, we are looking at coming in, filling in this fair value gap at the 52, 54 range. But that still only takes us to the top of the yearly range, and we kind of got to get above that to get some oomph. So it's not looking too great. We are definitely bearish. Looking on to the monthly, come into a smaller time frame so we can see it better, and I'm just going to shut off the daily. So looking at the monthly and the weekly, positive here is that on the weekly itself, I'll start with the weekly, we do have a naked range here. So same thing as before, it was a bearish neutral weekly, but we were looking for a continuation to the downward direction. So, which is pretty much what we got. We broke the previous week low, coming to the weekly S1, taking out liquidity one more time before coming up into that upward direction. Now we did have break a structure here, nothing too great with oomph wise, but we did fill in the imbalances and continuing in that upward direction. But again, we do have the naked weekly here sitting at 46 cents, so there's still the high probability within next little bit to kind of come up. I think there's about 3 days left on the weekly here. So within the next 3 days, coming up into this range, hopefully getting to the pivot at 47. If we do get above it, we kind of run into resistance right away, but there is that weekly R1 at 50. So again, coming up, getting to hopefully to this pivot, breaking the range, and then coming up to the weekly R1. Now that takes us into that monthly pivot as well. And on the monthly pivot, it is a naked currently as well. Now when we opened up, let's see, where's that previous? So again, even on the monthly, we are looking for, this is a bearish monthly, so we are looking for a continuation of that downward direction. And so far that's what we had. Now we did open below, we didn't quite make it to the previous month low, and we are breaking structures to that upward direction, again running out of steam at this shelf. But again, we have the naked weekly, we also have this naked monthly. So basically, from this low here, or at least this shelf area, that was a 6% return to there with a possible 12% to the actual middle pivot. Now it doesn't mean we have to hit it this month. It is a new monthly, so there's still 30 days basically to actually come up into this range. But the probability is that we'll at least hit the lower range, come into the weekly, and then we'll see if we can get the strength to push us above, or do we continue in that downward direction, take it to previous month low, and start going in for that monthly S1 at 34 cents. Now if we do get above, if we do break the range above, as soon as we break that 52.66, we have taken out liquidity, these equal levels here, coming into these imbalances at the 54 kind of range, and that will take us to that weekly R2. and then we'll see if we can actually get to that monthly R1 at 59 and then continue up to the previous month high, take out liquidity. And then if we do that, then we start running out of steam in at the previous month here, sitting at that 66 up to 68.9. So this will act as a resistive level. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, you know, we are looking for that continuation, that downward direction. So more or less coming into that monthly range, maybe to the previous week high, and then from there, continuation to the monthly S1 at 34 or previous month low at 39. So basically bearish until we break 52. Let's just say the 52.5 level for continuation to that upward direction. So, all right, that's all I got for Cardano ADA. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can join the Discord. The links are in the description. If you want to use the indicators, same thing. Join through the Discord. We'll get you all set up. And if there's anything else, join the Discord. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. God bless.
Visit unRekt.me and download our free powerful indicators. And join our community of traders in our Discord server and get full access to the Machine Suite Indicators, the Nexus Suite Indicators, and the Nexus Screener.